Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bill and Ammon's Bogus Hangout. I'm going to have our guests introduce themselves. Let's start with Zara. Zara, would you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Zara Altair, and I write content for the web.
Steve.
Hello, Steve Grenzer with Deep SEO Conference and Web Narwhal.
Terry.
Terry Van Horn, Toronto, Ontario. I just got shit on Twitter.
And Bill Slawski of SEO by the Scene. I'm the Director of SEO Research for Go Fish Digital. And welcome to Bill and Ammon's Bogus Hangout. We've got some news today. But
not much.
No, it's kind of light. I was looking at it, reading through it before the show started. I don't know.
Lots of PPC news, but I don't know nothing about that.
SEMs go deep on keyword research.
Well, I would hope so.
Well,
especially now that Google has this lovely habit of just determining that exact match isn't really exact match, but you could have also meant this, and phrase match may as well be broad match anymore.
And I see lots of people claiming that PPC research is helpful for SEO.
Oh, definitely.
And I say, what about the fact that people doing PPC don't give a damn about informational queries? And they don't research informational queries. They always tell me, no, we do transactional because that's how we make money.
I mean, most of them, yeah, but when we're doing, most of my clients do both SEO and PPC, mostly because we request that they do a minimum budget for whichever one they don't want to do, because it doesn't make sense to do one without the other for the most part. And we usually take our PPC budget, or at least a percentage of it. If they're doing informational queries, we do informational ads. If we do transactional, we do transactional. The whole purpose being it's a shortcut to getting into the phrases that will convert for you versus the ones that don't. It just speeds the process up. Instead of spending all this time doing SEO and hoping that you pick the right phrases, you can do some PPC in front of it and know that you picked the right phrases or not.
Yeah, I found you got information on what makes things click through and stuff like that. It's a more, you know exactly, well, hold it. I'll rephrase that. In the past, you knew exactly what the phrase was because I did my tests on exact match. And most of my campaigns were exact match because I think the other stuff is just bullshit. Meant to waste your budget.
Yeah, but it also it's had the habit of also shining a light on routes that you hadn't considered, which has happened for us more than once. Especially like with a higher end product where you're not going to sell it up front. You know, very rarely will somebody do a search and then drop 20 grand. So all those ads are really informational ads. They're not transactional by default because you're not going to get a transaction out of them.
So longer sales cycle on some items.
Much longer sales cycles. And the real issue we've been seeing with this is all of the Google AI and black box crap really sucks at doing that because it needs a conversion to figure out what to do next. And so when you're doing these types of informational queries and you're not getting a conversion at all because somebody's going to come to your website 3 or 4 times before they decide to even call you, and then the transaction actually happens offline in real space, the only thing you've got is how many times they've come to your website and maybe if you're doing call tracking, what phone number they called. So, we've been testing other types of ads, call only ads and things like that. And they do help, but it makes the numbers look horrible because you're running so many clicks without having a conversion tied to it directly. So you're relying on your client to tell you, well, yeah, every so many leads, we get a sale. Because really all you're selling them at that point is leads. And even then, those are hard to count.
When I look at stuff like that, Steve, I used to think to myself, if they go on to another page from this informational page, as far as I'm concerned, I converted them because they went further along in the cycle on the same site.
And we have to break all that out in the reports. How many pages they went, how long they stayed on the site. And
how many pages were in the session, which page did they leave on, what page did they enter on. That's the, in my opinion, the important stuff.
And then you've also got, repeat visits, new visits, all that fun stuff. It can get really complex really quick and still not tell you how much money you made on your ad.
Right. But to me, because you knew in those days, the exact keyword and the words that got them to click and that sort of thing.
Right.
Like through the ads, I realized telling people that the payday loan form that they were going to fill out could be filled out in 2 minutes. Got a lot of clicks because everywhere else, I asked 3 questions. Everybody else wanted to know everything but your baby's, future name type stuff. Just baloney that you don't even need that until they buy or take the loan out, right?
Right.
So I was just qualifying. Do they qualify for a loan? That's it. Then they called the call center.
Right.
So another bit of our news has to do with UTM parameters. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's sad when a UTM parameter, we're talking about an industry standard for tracking pages, and the person didn't understand that wouldn't hurt his rankings. Man, that's a sad state for the industry that we're answering questions like that. You know what we used to do in the forum? There's a search. Go use it. As you're doing a big favor.
Let me Google that.
Favor.
Well, you don't necessarily want to put UTM parameters on your links inside your page.
Well,
inside
you
your
should
site.
remove them because they're not your because you're not sending them real values. But again, obviously, someone who didn't know what the hell they're doing. And that's the sad state that there are a number of people in this business, Man, they
Terry's going to short circuit any moment now.
See, Terry had lost for words.
Well, I just don't understand why,
So has the pandemic been good for the SEO business?
Well, yeah.
I don't know. Everybody shut in and not being able to shop. No, that was really bad for the SEO.
For some industries, it really hurt them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
it was
in
not.
some industries, I think some restaurants and stuff are starting to figure out that there's other ways to do it.
So a lot of e-commerce sites, lots of chain stores start offering curbside assistance where they would actually bring stuff out to people's cars. And they were finding ways to do that with the website
Yeah.
that hadn't been available before.
I said for a long time, if you buy something at a store online, you should be able to just go to the store, go to the counter and say, yeah, can I pay for this and take it out? Not have to wait around and all. That's good. You know, that's a good meld between the online and offline experience.
And now you can drive up, park at a numbered spot, and call the phone number on the
Yep.
numbered spot, the sign right in front of you.
At
And
Best
they'll
Buy,
bring it out to your car, put it in your trunk, and there you go.
yeah, at Best Buy during the pandemic, you phoned, you made an order, and then you told them, I'm going to come to the store at this time to pick it up. You make an appointment, you
Yeah.
go there, you wait about maybe 10 minutes, and you're picked up your thing and you're gone without no salesman tracking you and all the other stuff.
And I'm seeing that at Home Depot and Lowe's too.
Yeah. Like, I hate it when a salesman, you know, I feel like what? Well, there's only two reasons you're shadowing me. You either think I'm casing the joint.
Yeah.
Which is like,
there are times when I go to like a Lowe's and I sit in the parking lot and I order on the website because I haven't found what I came to the store to find, because it's saying in some warehouse somewhere. It's
Yeah.
not available.
Yeah.
So if I order it, I get a email within 10 minutes telling me that it's ready.
Yeah.
And I
to
go
this
get it.
place and pick it up and put it in your trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
We
pretty
have-
hard to go into a store and buy 25 2x4s.
you would need a loan for that right now.
Yeah. It's really expensive.
But no, our veterinarian does the same thing. You pull up to the vet, you call their number, tell them what stall you're in, and they just come out to the truck and give the dogs the shots right there in the truck. You don't even go inside anymore.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So business is changing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think you'll see some businesses just say, hey, this is actually a better way of doing business.
Yeah.
Let's go on. Like a lot of businesses are going to say, hey, I don't need all this office space. I'm just going to let people work at home because that's what they really want anyhow.
I was talking to somebody a couple weeks ago. They used to have 4 floors in an office building, and they basically let 3.5 floors go.
Yeah.
They kept a couple of co-working offices and their conference room.
Right.
Yeah.
And the conference room, you can rent that when you need it in most those workplaces. So
Yeah.
all you really need are a couple of offices
If
where
we
if
were
you want a meeting together, you could do it.
if WeWork hadn't gone bankrupt when it did, COVID would have certainly blown it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure you need the conference rooms.
Every once in a while, you've got a client that wants to come in and see a big presentation.
Yeah, sometimes for also when you got 4 or 5 people talking about a campaign or something, a conference room is more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But a Zoom meeting works really well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what people are realizing. You don't have to be in the room with them anymore. You know, unless you were interested what was below is their waist. You know?
So Men's Warehouse only has to sell the top half of the outfit.
only shirt sold the shirt and tie and
When
jacket.
you go in there now and ask for a 2-piece suit, you have to tell them whether it's a jacket and pants or a jacket.
Pants or a vest.
That's it. What was it? Somebody posted on Facebook the old, like an ad from the 70s where they had pants that only went up to your knees, and each leg had a belt, so you could wear your pantsuit onesie or whatever. It's like, what the? It's completely the opposite. No, it's the other way around. Oh, just some scary stuff in the world.
I thought the poll on the keyword research was kind of. I don't have a minimum number of searches before, because sometimes you look at the inventory and that's what dictates what you go after. Sometimes you don't have a lot of choices.
Yeah.
Especially when, you may have 100 keywords, but 20 of them are driving 80% of the traffic and sales.
So when you're doing retail with keywords and you're looking at inventory and you have those keywords.
Yeah, my bad. I didn't explain. I call all the keywords the inventory. That's
Oh, okay.
my
All
inventory.
right.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, well, you've heard me use that term before. That's why.
Well, I think that's a good way of looking at it, is an inventory of
Oh, yeah.
the keyword. Yeah.
Also, I do things differently. I also prioritize based on transaction type. So,
So how many of you have had a client call and ask you to turn off your ad campaign because they're too busy?
I have.
Had a window and door company
yeah.
we were working with call us on a Monday when it snowed and everything was closed. And they were getting so much business because their website was open,
Right. And
but
people were home.
they ran out of salespeople. They ran out of doors. People were home. People were calling. They said, "Turn it off. We can't handle all this."
Yeah. We can't make them fast enough.
Yeah.
So what's the point in paying for the ads?
And that's more common than people would think in industries where the client actually makes the product.
Yeah.
Versus being a reseller. If you're making it in-house, you have a finite amount of things you can build in a certain amount of time. And you have to adjust your budgets accordingly to keep your flow full, but not let it dip too, it gets to be a weird balance. And the trick is having a conversation with the client to make sure they understand it.
So I don't do PPC, but I have a question about that, because if you have a finite number of things you can sell, you make it, or a service business where there's only one person, and that business called you and said, "Turn off my PPC. It's I can't handle it." Would
Nope.
you? Would you turn it off, or would you scale down?
Scale it way down. Never
scale
turn
way
them off.
down,
Office
but
usually,
never turn them off. Yeah, I'm just double checking, because that would be my sense, that you wouldn't turn it off. You would just.
usually what we could, if you've got enough time in with that client, and roughly how many clicks convert, how many clicks convert to how many sales, then you could scale it back to a point where you think they can handle that volume of sales. And we've done that before, where we've given them time to ramp up production and then slowly start ramping up the traffic again to meet what they're now capable of for production. I work with one client right now. They're actually absolutely maxed. If they sell one more of what they make, it's going to cost them about $2 million, because they can't physically make one more in a given year. For them to make one more, they have to make all the more. They have to start a second line. and to start a second line is going to cost them $2 million. So it's like when this many of them sell in a year, everything gets shut off because they can't sell anymore, or they start doing pre-sales for the next year, which gets them even further in the hole. It's a weird problem, and when you're doing manufacturing, especially, you know, it's a $25,000 item, you can't just say turn it on and off, because there's so much lead time in getting, like we were talking earlier, there's a lead time for the sale. It doesn't close in a week. It usually closes in 45 to 60 days.
Okay, well that makes sense to me. I was just checking because turning it off seems like shooting yourself in the foot.
I worked for a company that was doing a call center. At night, when the call center was closed, I'd shut the ads off. And also, that meant that people in India couldn't
We're less likely to click.
and less likely to click and less likely to try and scam. So it cut that down. And I also slowed the ads down at certain times of the day. They called it day parting back then. I was running so many ads, I knew when to, like at payday loans, 90% of them get done between 11 o'clock in the morning and 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's basically the lunch hour across the United States. A lot of people do that at lunch hour.
Yeah. Did you notice you had a group of days of the week that were far more busy than others too?
Yep.
Yeah.
Monday was, everyone spent all their money over the weekend and realized, oh, I overdid it.
I know years ago when I was in the pizza business, I was put in charge of a store that was in a less affluent neighborhood. And
first of the month.
and they're like, you know, we can't make any money at this store. We'll give you 6 months and see what you can do. And in like 45 days, I had the store double the sales. And they're like, what did you do? And it's like, well, I quit sending the coupons out at the beginning of the month and started, or at the end of the month and started sending them out at the beginning of the month.
Beginning of the month.
Because everybody got their checks and they're like, ooh, pizza.
They treat themselves the day they get their check and buy.
Exactly. If you waited till the end of the month, which is when they used to send out all of our advertising, it's like their money's already gone.
Yeah.
And they're just coasting through the end of the month to get to the next check. So that one little change took that store from being a loser to a profit maker. And then, of course, other people found out that's what we were doing and told us we were horrible human beings for doing that. And it's like, why?
For understanding the market.
It's their money and they're hungry.
And they're going to eat no matter what.
People really told you were terrible human beings for doing that?
Yep.
You're exploiting the poor. I've heard it all doing payday loans. It was just,
Okay, preying on the poor.
Yeah. And they don't understand who actually is doing that is the bank that, bounces their check, and then all the loans they have at 6% are now 10%. So paying a payday loan company $20 for a $50 loan, they got a better deal by doing that than bouncing a check at the bank. It's that simple. So I never had any qualms about doing it. I didn't care what people said. No, that shut everybody up.
No. I didn't work in the payday loan group. They were doing check cashing, which isn't quite the same thing, and money transfers between the United States and South America. They weren't limited to it was all of South America.
Coin wash.
Yeah, pretty much. But it was a neat system. I mean, the process behind it required an awful lot of cash to operate, because you had to have that pile of cash in all of your locations down south to be able to
disperse it. Yeah.
right. And then you had to figure out how to transfer the money for yourself in bulk down south. And the banks were making tons of money off of them because they could. What they wound up doing, and they had to stop when the laws started changing, but what they were doing is transferring the money to San Diego, and then one of their offices in San Diego would pull all the cash out and just drive it across the border. Well, you can't do that anymore. You cross the border with 50 grand in your pocket or 100 grand in your pocket, and things probably won't go well for you.
No, not at all.
The people start calling you a cartel.
Mhm. What else did Terry find for us?
Oh no, Steve, do you think it's safe to assume that more content could mean more traffic?
I think it's safe to assume that more content, properly organized, could allow you for some much better internal linking, which can improve your rankings.
Right.
But you're wrapping up a whole lot of content to be able to put up more content? No.
Yeah. It's all about the quality. If you put up crap, it can actually hurt you.
Yeah.
If you put up enough crap.
Well, it's like the old days when people used to buy likes on Facebook.
No.
And it would just absolutely destroy your engagement metrics, which is what
Right.
Facebook used to determine how many people to show your stuff to. You know, when you're seeing somebody who's got 1 million fans on their page and their posts are only being seen by 3,000 or 4,000 people, you've done something wrong, son. And there is no good solution to that other than create a new page and start over.
So with content, there's internal linking, and then back to the original question. I mean, more content for more content sake doesn't seem productive. That's like spinning wheels.
That's a side effect of a lot of these SEO packages.
Yeah.
2 new blog posts a month and, you know,
Yeah.
100 links, and that's how they sell their packages, with no thought given to a strategy behind it. They're thinking tactically instead of strategically, and that's the way a lot of them are. Especially if you get into these dedicated verticals where you've got a company that builds all the websites for dentists or all the websites for chiropractors.
Yeah.
They write the same piece of contract and push it out to every single website. It's like, oh yeah, that's just lovely.
Wait, so they send the same content to all their websites?
Yeah, you look at some of these providers, they focus on one niche, and let's say it's dentists.
Yeah, that part I understand. Yeah.
And they build 50 websites for dentists on the same template. And then once a month they go, new blog post, and they publish once and it hits every single website they manage.
Yeah, they might spin it a little bit to change them some, but they don't do much about that.
No.
But I don't even think that stuff
Well,
works.
all these dentists or whoever they are all putting out the same content, which doesn't help them distinguish themselves from anything.
No.
That's right.
And they're not cheap either. That's the bad part.
Yeah.
You know, these people are paying, you know, $500 or $600 a month or more for the website and the quote free content and social media that comes with it. And it's not worth it.
I've seen that. Let me see. How do I word this? I was working in an agency for a little while, and they were working on a very large website.
Okay.
That website syndicated material on literally hundreds of sites. Steve already knows which one I'm talking about. And that site, right in the tools, said it was penalized.
Yeah.
And that agency did nothing.
Nope. That's what happens when the owners don't know what they're looking at and don't understand it.
Or they did it and don't want to own it.
Well, I mean the owners of the websites, the customers.
The owners of the website, yeah.
Yeah, but they were getting consultations, Steve. Right? What kind of consultation were they getting?
Google
Well,
made it.
considering I brought it to their attention and they told me to shut up, basically.
Ooh.
Usually
they knew what was going on.
Yes.
The console usually goes something like this. Google made an algorithmic change and we're trying to fix it. We hope to have it solved in X number of months. Knowing well that they've had the website penalized.
Mm.
And
Well, I won't say anymore.
Terry's
Because
going,
I get in shit.
I've seen that meeting more than once.
Yeah.
Ooh, the word
yeah.
evil comes to mind. Right.
Greedy, yeah. Evil, yeah. Incompetent, definitely.
Lazy.
Very. But they're still making bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what bothered me is there was all kinds of SEOs still touting the service.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of, told some friends that that isn't a good idea and left it at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sarah missed the good old days.
Yeah.
There was a lot of sketchy stuff being done in the early 2000s, late 90s. I mean, and it's still going on. It's just not as common, or it's sometimes called out more often. I still get frustrated when people say, there's a company who's doing this, but they won't say what company it is. It's like, well, it doesn't matter at all. You might as well say nothing.
Yeah.
If you're not going to out the company that's doing it, then what's the point of making the post? Call them out.
Why would they not call them out? What's the point? I mean, either you're calling out what am I missing? You're either calling out the action performed by somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you're not calling it out.
Right.
But if you say, this is happening, but I'm not going to tell you who's doing it, what is the point of that?
It makes people.
When you're working for a company, they make you sign agreements that say,
Oh,
if
right.
we hear you said this, then we're going to sue you. Well,
Non-disclosure agreement. Yep.
yeah. So you say what you can to alert people that there are issues and they should look at them, but you don't name names.
Okay. Now I understand.
Being aware there's a problem is a help.
It is a help.
If you can help yourself. Unfortunately, there's a lot that helping themselves entails going to Twitter and asking John, our parameters paid links. Right.
Oh no. I just got an email from a Gmail account with a PayPal logo that says I made a purchase for $59,000.
Oh, I got one last week. Yeah.
And I need to click this link to confirm.
You better go ahead and do that.
On CNBC this morning, a guy showed how he got beat for $100,000 in crypto from a phone call.
Yeah.
By just clicking one button in the phone call.
I whatever.
Well, people don't understand. None of these places phone you and say there's been suspicious action on your credit card.
Well, and this brings me back to like the Google Ads reps. When they contact you, especially if they're new at this, they will contact you and say, "Hi, I'm new." They'll email you. They'll say, "I'm your new ad rep," or they'll call you. "I'd like to set up a meeting with you. I just need you to verify the last 4 digits of the account." And I'm like, "No, this is how phishing scams work. You guys need to stop doing this." But we're required to do this to help you. It's like, no,
Then I don't want your help.
I
Sorry.
don't
Yeah,
want your help.
I want you to know if you're not helping.
Would you like my first pet's name and my first car
I mean,
and my social security number?
I asked them, it's like, if I were to call you and say, "I'm from the Social Security office and I need to talk to you about your account, but first we need to verify that you're the person I should be talking to. What are the last 4 digits of your Social Security number? Are you going to give those to me?"
I had somebody from Social Security Administration. It's what they said. Ask me for my Social Security number. And I said, "You're the Social Security Administration. You should know that."
You're calling me. You should know that.
Or I love the people who call with "I'm from your credit card company." "Oh yeah, which one is that?" "We just need you to verify the last 4 digits of your account and the 3-digit code on the back." Like, "Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, well, I haven't had that one.
Let me go ahead and give you some numbers I just made up and see how long I can keep you on the phone and get you really wound up."
Wow.
Those scammers really hate it when you waste their time. They have a certain call volume they've got to make, and when you screw with them, it just ruins their day.
Yeah, I think the first time I got one for Visa, I called Visa right away and I said, "Do you phone people and tell them they've been?" And they said, "No, we never phone you. And we wouldn't probably email you either." So
Right.
they leave it up to you to come to them and say, "Hey, I got a bad charge." And
So
then whether, it's true or false, they give
we get, my wife she signed up for the fraud alert program, and she does get a text message on a couple of our cards. She gets a text message every time it's used, letting her, and all it does is say, we just had a charge for X number of dollars at this location.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And she
Okay.
loves it. She absolutely.
I have a few of those for a few cards too.
Mhm.
They're helpful.
See, I used to work at telemarketing companies that sold that insurance. No,
Well, this
I
was
know it's a scam.
I don't know
But
if
it's with the actual insurance, with the actual
It's with
Visa
the-
company, and they're
Yeah,
telling
with
you
the
that
credit
stuff.
card.
Yeah.
It's free. It's free with the credit card, and it's funny because she'll use the card like she has her Walmart card does that, and she will pay at the cash register with
And
her.
watch to see if it comes up.
She pays with her phone, and she scans that QR code. It goes beep on her phone, and within 30 seconds, never more than a minute, it goes beep again and says, "You've just had a purchase at this, at this store number for this amount." And
What is
it's
that,
like,
turning on notifications or something, Steve?
I have no idea. I haven't done it because that would drive me nuts. But
See, I would like that.
and it comes up with a yes/no button, it says, "If this was you, don't worry, you're done. If this is not you, press this button." You press this button, and it automatically files a dispute. It's a one-click deal. It is so cool. But then again, I'm easily impressed.
The thing is, you would know that you made that purchase.
Right. Because it comes in within seconds of you making the purchase. That's what's cool.
Yeah.
That's also so that if someone did make that purchase other than you, when you say no, they can grab the people right there and say, "This guy did an illegal transaction."
Yeah, I don't know if it goes that far because I don't think anybody in any store would reach out and grab anybody. Not these days. Not when they're letting them walk out with entire grocery carts full of stolen goods.
Yeah, that's true too, I guess. Yeah.
Unless you're a 70-year-old lady and you want to whack a dude with your purse, that's always pretty cool.
Well, I can see the appeal because if a transaction came in on that reporting system and you didn't do it, you could let them know right away that you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, long ago in the 60s, my wallet was stolen, and I don't even think I had any cards, or there were any cards at that time, but I had a checkbook, and they had my driver's license. And I was amazed at how many places took this that was a person of a different race and a different age, had scotch taped their photo over the driver's license, which in those days was paper, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and written checks, and walked away with, thousands of dollars of stuff, whatever they bought. And I had a couple of stores come after me, and I said, I know what happened, because the police found all this stuff. And I said, I know what happened. You can't come to me, because if your employees are that dumb
Yeah.
to take that kind of verification, you're just on the hook.
Well, it's funny because I travel quite a bit, specifically go see family 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah.
And I take pretty much the same route every single time. And like the first 2 or 3 trips I made, I had problems with my credit card on the trip. And after a couple of trips, I no longer have problems with my credit card on the trip, because the credit card company has developed my spending profile to know that it's certain, I'm going to hit this path up and down, going north and south. And I usually hit the exact same restaurants, the exact same gas stations every single time. Pace right where I need my breaks. And I've gotten used to them, and I'm kind of boring when I travel. I want to grind it out and get it done.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be stopping and doing side adventures when I'm by myself. I'm just going to, rip through it. But yeah, I remember the first time it declined my credit card at the gas station. It's like, you've got to be kidding. And then like 30 seconds later, my wife's calling. I just got a beep about the credit card being used. So yeah, I tried to use the credit card. She goes, yeah, I told him it was okay. Go ahead and run it again. And
oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah. Very cool stuff.
I know at one point in time, well, I always tell my bank when I'm traveling, especially to a foreign country.
Yeah.
I'll tell my bank, from this date to this date, I'm going to be in whatever country, and so don't cut me off at the pass.
I do that with credit cards when I'm going out of the country too. You have to. Especially
because otherwise you automatically stop all the charges.
Because if you don't, then you're stuck in the country trying to call the credit card.
Yeah.
And they're answering in some language you don't understand.
Yeah, I know, it's really bad. I had I mean, I had an experience like that with my French bank, because I called them and told them I was going to be traveling in England and Italy, and I said I want to make sure that I can use this card before I go, otherwise I'm going to do something else. But I want to make sure that I can use this card before I go. And she said, no, 100%, you're good to go, blah, blah, blah. And of course, fortunately, the first thing that happened was I was visiting my daughter in England and took them out to dinner, and nope, card didn't work.
Yeah.
So and it's just what you said, Bill. You're in another country, trying to do stuff, and it's crazy.
Remember traveler's checks?
I do remember travelers.
And there's a bunch of kids going, what? what the hell's a traveler's check?
Might as well stay green stamps.
Yeah.
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 Cashed in my green stamps. Yep.
The nice guy that pumps your gas, checks your oil, and cleans your windshield for you while you sit there.
We have actually in Oregon, you have to wait for the nice guy to pump your gas. They don't clean the windows or do any
New
of that.
Jersey does not allow you to pump your own gas.
Right, same in Oregon. Yeah.
So you go from Delaware, where you can pump your own gas, to New Jersey, where they're afraid you're going to blow up the gas station if you pump your own gas, to
I mean,
New York, where you can pump your own gas.
To be fair, there were people putting gasoline in garbage bags not too long ago. So,
Garbage bags?
yeah.
For
Remember
what?
when COVID first hit and everything was getting locked down, and
Oh,
big storms
I see.
hit.
Okay. Oh my
And people
God.
had-
Garbage bag. That's dumb.
and I saw people with those plastic totes with the lids that fold shut, filling those up, and it's like, you people are nuts.
With gasoline.
Gasoline, and leaving it in their
Whoa.
trunk, driving away. And it's like, how
And light up
know.
a cigarette.
I don't know.
Whoa, that is pretty crazy. Gasoline.
Did they putting out fires with that or what?
Well, no, because everybody was afraid we were gonna, they were gonna run out of gasoline, and so they needed to get as much as they could now. And they didn't have gas cans because you can't make a gas can in the United States anymore. So they were filling up anything they get their hands up with, milk jugs, trash bags. I should find the videos. It was hysterical watching these
Trash
people.
bags. Jesus,
Yep.
that's scary.
Trash bags. So you people are nuts.
No kidding.
But on the other side of that, at any point in time, I've got about 200 gallons of fuel here on the farm. So whatever.
But it's not in trash bags.
No, not in trash bags. It's in big drums designed specifically for fuel. Well, it's funny because like when the power goes out here, you could have to drive 45 minutes to find a gas station that has electricity. And you can tell which one is the one that's closest to the border because that's the one with the line of traffic all the way out onto the road for hours on end. And then once they drain that gas station, then it's the next one down that they line up at. And, because if power goes out here, it's usually out for a week, 10 days. And you figure I'm going through probably 7 gallons a day. Well, that's a can and a half every single day. So we'll go out and fill up 5 or 6 cans, and it'll get us through 2 or 3 days, and then go out and fill them up again. Always hoping that the power comes back on.
So you have a gas generator.
Yeah. Until April. Then we get the natural gas generator gets put in.
Oh, okay.
And that'll run off natural gas, and they'd have to do some real damage to make that sucker shut off. The joys of living out in the middle of nowhere.
So that powers the house and the barn?
Yep.
Cool.
I had a friend he didn't even know the power went out. They were downstairs playing cards and watching a movie. The lights flickered. They didn't think anything of it. A few hours later, there's a banging on the door. And they go upstairs and everything's dark. And they're like, "How are you the only people with power?" I'm like, "Oh, how are we? Oh, power's out."
Wow.
So, yeah.
Here it's pretty infrequent for the power to go out, usually in the winter, and usually it's a matter of hours. Could be up to 8 hours, but that's
I think on average, on the last 5 years, we've averaged 21 days, 24 days without power for a whole year.
For a year?
And they're usually
Okay.
strung together so 10 days.
We've had rolling blackouts here,
Really?
but they don't happen too often.
Yeah.
And the one time I can recall it happening, I had my phone set up so that I could use Wi-Fi from the phone on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
The last power outage we had, tornadoes came through and tore out two of the giant high voltage towers. Tore two of those out side by side, and TVA had to come out and build two brand new towers before they could turn on that substation. And then once they repaired that substation, then they could go and start repairing all the others down the chain. And our neighborhood is served by the very last one on the chain. So guess who was Even though we didn't have any damage here, they couldn't turn us on until they turned everybody else on because we're at the end of the line. So yeah, when the power goes out here, we just know it's going to be out for a while. We get to do Little House on the Prairie, pretend we're Amish, build puzzles.
I don't know. That doesn't fit, Steve.
You didn't see my big puzzle I posted on Facebook just the other day?
I did, yeah.
Oh, I did see the big puzzle. Yeah, wow, that is humongous.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they made them that big.
Yep. 14 feet long.
Wow, that's...
Yes, we do have the power outages quite often. It gives us something to do.
My place.
Where do you find
trying to
tables that
think where I
large?
would do a 14-foot puzzle. I'm not sure it would fit in my house.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Oh, my goodness.
So what kind of electricity do you have in your barn? It's just lights?
Well, it depends on which barn.
Okay.
Most of the hay barn and the cattle barn, all that, those are just solar.
Right.
And then the equipment barn and my shop are all powered, full power.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, yeah.
So you've got more than lights out there.
Like my shop has heat and air and an arcade game or two and computers and
Oh, okay.
all the woodworking equipment, the machine tools, and all of that's out there. So that's the plan, is to be able to, I mean, usually when power goes out, at least somebody's generator doesn't work in the neighborhood. Usually one or two of them just simply don't fire. And the process now is they come here. If I'm not up and running, they help me get my stuff running, and then I fix their stuff. The way we're set up right now, we lose power. It takes me about half an hour to convert over to generator.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I need power so I can fix other people's stuff. Get out the chainsaws and the tractors to cut down and move trees that come down, and we have to clear our own road because they won't get to us anytime soon.
And it's sort of expected of you.
Well, if you want to get out, you don't have a choice. You know,
Right.
it's I mean, we've had oaks come down that are 6 foot in diameter and come down and completely close the road. And a 6-foot diameter oak tree is not something you can cut up with a 20-inch chainsaw.
Wow, that is a big tree.
Yeah. So we knock
Yeah.
off all the limbs and get a couple of tractors on it and push, get it out, at least out of the way enough to drive around it until the road crew can get out and deal with it. And when I lived in California, we used to have creeks at either end of the neighborhood, and we used to keep boats, rowboats, and little flat bottom boats at the crossings, so that when the floods came, people could get in and out. You just leave the boat, and then you wind up playing that game. If you've got 5 people to get across the creek, how many trips do you have to take to get everybody across?
Right, exactly.
We finally got smart one year and put a long enough rope on the boat so that you could pull it from whatever side you were on to get it. You know, if there was only one boat, you could grab it and pull it across so you could use it. And all these city people listening to these stories are going, "You have got to be nuts."
I moved to a place where it had flooded every year for forever and ever. The whole valley floor would flood, because there was a big creek and little rivulets, and so everybody kept a boat. I mean, that's just what you did if you wanted to go out and do stuff when it flooded. And then they had the Army Corps of Engineers came and built a big cement culverty thing, and then the whole flora and fauna went, our support system is gone. And I don't know, it was interesting. Nobody cared. It's a bunch of rich suburbanites. They didn't care about the flora and fauna, but they did suffer because all the water was channeled through this one big cement thing. Ditch, big ditch, but it was cement.
They did that in Albuquerque. They took a floodplain and then tried to divert the water around it so they could build more houses. And that worked for about 2 years. Then the houses started breaking in half and settling in weird ways.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you guys managed to take care of all the surface water, but you didn't bother to touch any of it that was under the ground. Big old sinkholes started opening up and swallowing cars. And
Oh, my gosh. Oh, wow, yeah. So it's sandy ground?
yeah. What else we got?
Well, we're at the top of the hour. So it's time to call it a show and thank everybody. Thank you.
Thanks,
care.
everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Down Homie Stories.
Yeah.
I doubt.